Hi there, this is Danny Flexen and welcome to this week's edition of ReFLEXions. We're here every Monday, 4:30 PM to round up the action from the weekend just gone. There's a lot of action this week. Two big shows in America to cover. One that took place, I believe, in Carson in California, featuring Sean Porter defending his WBC welterweight title against Cuban Yordenis Ugas. Bit of a damp squib, to be frank. Boxers spent a lot of time eyeing each other up. Porter surprisingly abandoned his normal swarming, aggressive style and chose to box instead, which with a master kind of Cuban boxer, slick, fast guy like Ugas might not have been the best idea. Very, very close fight as it turned out. A lot of people, especially looking at the judges' scores round by round, I think there was a bit of contention there. A lot of people had Ugas winning, but Porter just about retained on the split decision. Although the one score that was in Ugas' favour was quite wide, so it just shows it's a very difficult fight to score. A bit of a, war of nerves rather than a real kind of drag-out battle. But Porter retains and he'll go on. I think a lot of the other champions will be wanting to fight him now, the likes of Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Mikey Garcia, depending on how he gets on against Errol Spence next week. We'll be previewing that on ReFLEXions, of course, on Thursday. Matchroom USA also had a show. I think it was in Philadelphia, but I could be wrong about that. No, actually, maybe that's next week's. Maybe it was New York. Wherever it was, Matchroom USA had a show that was on DAZN. I got to catch up with that. It was also on Sky Sports, so I got to catch up with that yesterday. Callum Johnson, big UK news. Obviously, last seen losing after a brave battle against Artur Beterbiev for the IBF belt up at light heavyweight, having dropped Beterbiev, becoming the first man to do so. He came back against Shawnee Monahan, absolutely destroyed him. 3 rounds, I believe it was. His first knockdown that he scored with a counter right hand was really, really impressive. Just thought he looked great throughout. Great opponent to look good against as well, Monahan, kind of made to order. But now he can go in and look for a bigger fight, which could be, a lot of people saying, against the loser of the main event on that show, Joe Smith Jr., who came up short, losing a wide points decision to the WBA champ, Dimitri Bivol. Bivol outclassed Smith, no question about that. Didn't get the stoppage, but Smith's a very tough cookie. Boxed really well, Bivol. Still learning, still young, still improving, but not sure who he's going to fight next. But a lot of people talking about Smith Jr., who's an aggressive, exciting fighter to watch, against Johnson, who also matches that description. So put them two together, it's a bit of a powder keg. So we can look forward to that, hopefully, in the future. Also on the show, we saw Mikel Lespierre, or Lapierre, come up short against Maurice Hooker, WBO super lightweight champion. Again, Hooker dominated, especially early on. Looked like he was going to get him out of there in the middle rounds. Then Lapierre came back a bit, dug his heels in, managed to last the distance. Next for Mo Hooker could be WBO #1 Jack Catterall, who's obviously British, based here with Frank Warren. He's not been made the mandatory contender yet, but he is the #1 contender, so you would hope that he gets his shot at Hooker before the end of this year. That's an intriguing fight in itself, be interesting. But doesn't seem... Hooker's very good, but he's not someone who intimidates. You don't watch him and think, oh my God, he's a scary fighter. But he does everything well, and he's quite awkward. He's tall, he's rangy. And he controlled Lapierre very well. Lapierre pretty unsung though. Catterall has fought at European domestic level. Let's see him make that step up to world level, see how he gets on. So they were the main fights from the DAZN show. But there was also a big show on Friday in the UK as boxing returned to London's famous historic Royal Albert Hall for the first time in quite some time on BT Sport, Frank Warren's show. We saw 4 kind of good fights, not good fights necessarily on the night, but good fights on paper, but we'll go through those now. Daniel Dubois stayed unbeaten by smashing Razvan Kajanu to bits. The Romanian who fought Nathan Gorman in his last trip to the UK took him the 12-round distance. Didn't prove quite as durable up against the power puncher. Gorman's more a fast, technical boxer. Dubois came out from the off, thrusting out his jab, full of purpose, full of intent, and then got him out of there. I think it was either the 2nd or the 3rd round. Just basically got him against the ropes and absolutely hammered him. A fusillade. The variety of the barrage was impressive as well. He went up and down. Don't listen to what people say about the body shots being low. They certainly weren't. There was a couple earlier that were low, but not in the finishing salvo. Sounded a bit like Ron McIntosh then. Salvo, get me. But yeah, caught him with a couple of body shots, then switched to the head, got him out of there. And you could see when he was unloading his shots that Kajanu, who's a really durable guy, took a lot of people to distance, including Joseph Parker when he was WBO champion. Absolutely wincing in pain taking those shots and just crumbled to the deck, could not continue in the end. So good win for Dubois, and we look forward to seeing him and Gorman in their inevitable domestic showdown later this year. Also on the show, Anthony Yarde in what was the nominal main event. Got rid of American Travis Reeves. He came over full of confidence, but Yarde gradually beat it out of him. I think he stopped him in the 5th. I haven't been studying BoxRec. If I've got any of these rounds wrong, I do apologise. I'm sure you'll tell me. But yeah, Yarde put on the pressure, used his usual kind of flashy array of upper body movement, defence and big shots, but he did get caught a few times, as he tends to do. A lot of critics out there saying, because he's now WBO #1, Frank Warren's talked about getting Sergei Kovalev over here for a title shot. A lot of people saying, well, the thing with Yarde is he gets hit too easily. He's been fighting at too low a level, and the leap to Kovalev is far, far too big. Maybe they're right, but there's a little part of me that would like to see Yarde upset Kovalev, just for the case that he and manager Tunde Ajayi, promoter Frank Warren, and trainer also Tunde Ajayi, have talked for so long about going their own path. They only care about what Yarde's doing. The way they're doing it, the way they're matching him gradually after a limited amateur career is exactly part of the plan. And it'd be really nice just to see that vindicated by him getting the upset in the biggest fight of his life. You know, on paper and logically, it does seem like far too big a jump from the likes of Travis Reeves to a Sergei Kovalev. But who knows, maybe Yarde's just waiting for the biggest fight of his career to truly turn it on and to put it all together. Time will tell. 2 British title fights on the show. One saw Liam Williams destroy Joe Mullender at middleweight, kind of as expected, but the referee probably shouldn't have let Mullender go on after the first knockdown. Bob Williams had a bit of criticism for that, including from Williams himself, who had a word with the referee before his hand was raised at the end. Disappointing to see that happen, although you're there as a referee in the heat of the moment. It's not always easy to judge what's going to go on next. But Williams got the job done. Whether he stays at middleweight or drops down to super welterweight, we wait to see. I'd like to see him at super welterweight, because I think his strength and power would be even more effective there against the smaller guys. Time will tell again. And the other British title fight saw one of my favourites. I shouldn't say that, but he is Johnny Garton. Really lovely guy. Unfortunately lose his British welterweight title to Chris Jenkins. Bit of a fairy tale story for Jenkins though, who dazzled when winning prize fighter. It must be at least 5 years ago now. And since his career's kind of meandered since then, he's been at super lightweight, got cut a couple of times in defeats, cut prone generally. Boxed beautifully against Garton, definitely deserved the win. He's now a British champion at last. He said before the fight he didn't want to be a nearly man anymore. Well, he's not. He's the man, at least domestically. So we'll wait and see what he gets up to next. But commiserations to Johnny Garton. He's now going to take a break with his partner and his child. Wish him all the best. I've always been a big fan of his here. Honest, humble guy. Works really hard. Didn't think he'd even get to an English title when he first started. So he's already overachieved, and I think he's still improving as well. So if he comes back for the better for this defeat, then who knows what he could achieve. Maybe get to European level at least. That's been ReFLEXions. That's all the action over the weekend. But what I'd like to know from you guys, if you could let me know in your comments below, who really impressed you over the weekend? Whose was the best performance over all the 3 shows that I've talked about? What performance or boxer surprised you the most? And what would you like to see next for some of the main eventers from those shows? Who would you like to see him go up against next? Let us know below. We always like to hear your comments, even respond to some of them, lucky people that you are. And I'll see you next week for ReFLEXions, Monday 4:30, but I'll also see you for FlexSpectations, looking ahead to Errol Spence against Mikey Garcia this Thursday, 4:30 PM, always on SecondsOut. Thank you.